So this video is part of a breakdown series that I'm running on my Patreon, and on the Patreon you can find many more breakdowns like this, but also the project files that go with the video breakdowns. So if you want to learn a little bit extra and open a project file while you're looking at the breakdown, make sure to visit the Patreon, link is in the description, and I hope you can learn something from it. It's like these pitchers or this frequency shifter and the pitcher are fighting against each other. So it sounds like this. Like you can hear it go up, but you can also hear it go down, and it just creates like a lot of dissonance in the track, which works really well with a build up because everything's like being washed out. So all those like dissonant sounds just merge together. Effects wise, don't really want to bore you with too much effects. It's just a bunch of risers to flow into each other. Bunch of rises that I used in the intro as well, or impacts that I used in the intro as well, and then combined with some new risers. Let me show you the vocal. It's right here.
I'm the chef and I'm I'm the chef and I'm cooking up dust cans.
Same vocal as my track strap with Roblo. This is a great acapella. Like I like to just throw in an acapella and just like select a different piece of the sample until you find like a phrase that sounds good. So that's how I came up with this. It's just the old hip hop acapella.
I'm the chef and I'm cooking up dust cans.
It's pretty memorable, I think. Personally, I like it a lot. That with some more drums going on here. We just select the drums and the high percussion. Same stuff. As I've explained before, my build-ups in the kick, I usually have a different kick in the intro and in the drop, because a lot of these dubstep drops or dubstep kicks are so heavy and so like clicky. So if you would use them in the intro or the build-up, it would just sound messy. It would sound like a lot. So instead, I have this nitty-gritty kick. I think I had put it at like -3 decibels, and it's just more like a hip-hop kick, I guess. It's still very loud, but it's not as loud as like a really punchy dubstep kick. Because the build-ups are already so messy, you know, you have all these transients going on with snares and loops, and all the high end as well. So if you add like a really clicky dubstep kick, it's just gonna sound messy. So that's why I don't like that anymore. Just to show you this thing, project file, I made this in like July, so I use different sidechaining now. Here I'm still triggering it by MIDI, which I don't do anymore. Right now I use Kickstart. I just route it with audio. It's a lot easier. But let me see if I can find the sidechain. Should be here, yeah. What I've had a couple people ask me how I do sidechains in the build-up. And the easiest way to explain that, I guess, is just like when the kicks play like 8 notes, like here. You can just use like a regular sidechain speed, like a regular curve. But as soon as the kicks go really fast, you don't want your sidechain to be as fast as well. Because if your sidechain was like the normal speed, it would just drown everything out. Because everything's be a sidechain, like except the drums. So if you wouldn't like change the sidechain, it become really messy. So let me see if I can replicate that. Just like for purposes. Yeah, so if we put it like this, it just becomes really messy. Like all you hear here are the drums. You don't hear any of the other sounds anymore, which is because the kicks are playing so fast that everything is like it's being sidechained non-stop pretty much. So nothing really comes through except the drums. So whenever your kicks go faster in the build-up, just make sure your sidechain is like a little bit like less. If you use like volume shaper or kickstart, there's like a mix knob, so you can just drag the mix down. So the faster the kicks go, the more of the wet, or the more you can take down on the mix. So probably easiest way to learn is just like go into the project file and see how it did it, but because it's kind of like tedious to explain. But yeah, with the pre-drop, use some more effects here, just to make a flow into the drop. Again, just like impacts, bringing it down, and then some more reverse, like brass samples that bring it into the drop. And then we get to the actual drop, which, again, I wanted to make this track still making something heavy, or while still making something heavy, but I also just wanted to try something new with the drums. So what I did for the drums here is I added an extra kick to give it a more like, I don't want to say reggaeton, because that like kind of disrespects the term reggaeton, I guess, but yeah, I hope you get the idea. It just adds a lot of swing, because I have this little, like, I think it's even like a percussion. I don't even think it's a kick. Well, yeah, I guess it's like a kick. It's labeled percussion, but it's so low pitched because I also frequency shifted it down to make it sound like a kick. And so those together with the snare just create this really like, yeah, like it just adds a lot of swing. Which combined with the flow of the drop sounds pretty dope. Creates a lot of movement, and so to do that I just used mostly audio in this sample, or in this project. I made some of the basses myself and resampled them as well, but a big part is definitely audio, and so the basses on itself just sound like this. Oh. You can tell, especially with this bass, it just really follows the drop, or the drums. Pretty much carries the whole track, just to create all that movement, accompanied with more basses down here. Sound like this. You just pick the most important ones. Just to play around with audio and really focus on the flow of the drop, instead of just like having four basses. I really try to like go in, have all these little fades here to really give it that movement. And you can create a lot of unique patterns with that. So that's how I went about that. It's accompanied with more background stuff, of course, as per usual, just to fill it out. You can find all these in the sample packs on the Patreon as well. They're all in the key of C, so I just pitched them up to D. So they sound the same key, or they are sitting in the same key. Sub. I like to do separate sub from all the basses. So if we go over the processing on the basses real quick, you can see that I low cut everything. And then after that I have a Pro Q, which is just like taking down everything above 3000 hertz. But I made it dynamic, so it only really takes it down when it's like being affected, I guess. Like if you look at this filter or this EQ, what it's doing. You can just see that dragging down whenever it's becoming a little too much on that high end. We just cleans it up. So instead of like having to go through each sound individually and EQ that, you could just do it on the group. With the sub, sounds like this. Again, follows that same pattern of the like reggaeton style drums and bass shots, just to really set that tone. With a little turnaround here. Second part of the drop is, it sounds a lot like the first one, because I used a lot of the sounds again as well. But I just like switch it up with sounds like this. There is a sustain here somewhere. Yeah, like this sustain. And one shot. That together with like frequency shifters on some basses Let me see if I can find some. Maybe not right now. But yeah, there's definitely like frequency shifters in here. That I'll, yeah, like this. I'll just pitch it up like 400 hertz,